Hello and welcome everyone, Lanhart here, and today I wanted to show you all my new editing PC. Big thanks to AMD and MSI for sponsoring this project by providing me with the Ryzen 1800X, the 8-core 16-thread CPU, and the MSI X370 Gaming M7 ACK motherboard. Of course, I do most of my gaming and recording on my War Machine PC, which you can find the full specs of on my channel's About tab, but with the amount of content I produce weekly, the need for a secondary PC to help with all the rendering and editing has been essential, and up until now, I've been using a collection of older PC parts and components that I've just thrown together in an older Cooler Master Striker case to do this. So this new hardware replaces an Intel i7-4770K CPU and an MSI Z97G45 motherboard, which are really starting to struggle rendering my new 1440p 60fps content in a reasonable time frame on Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use to edit and render all my content, and just the extra time it was taking was having a knock-on effect on me being able to edit and render the next kind of video in my content chain as such. I'll be creating a follow-up video to this one in a week or so, going more in depth with my rendering settings and doing some more tests. I want to do some overclocking as well and show those results with you as well. Also want to try streaming on this machine because I've heard that the Ryzen 1800X is very good at minimizing the impact streaming and gaming on the same system has. So I'll be very interested in seeing that. So yeah, if you want to know more about my rendering and editing process, do stay tuned for that video in a week or two's time. But yeah, so far the Ryzen 1800X has absolutely blown me away with the results, especially transitioning from that i7-4770K, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So I'm going to highlight some of the key features of the new hardware for this editing PC upgrade, as well as giving you kind of the full spec of the final build when I show that off in a bit. We'll take a look at the temperatures of the Ryzen 1800X as well, for sort of just general use, its idle temps, and obviously after I've been rendering on it for a while. And finally, I wanted to check out how Total War Warhammer 2 runs on this new processor and motherboard combo. As while this PC will primarily be for editing and rendering, I'd also like to see how the Ryzen 1800X handles games too, and as I said, I do want to do some streaming tests from a single PC setup with the 1800X in a week or so that'll give me some kind of comparison as well to see how much FPS we lose when we stream. So feel free to suggest other games I should benchmark as well, because I'll include that in my follow-up video in, as I said, a week or so's time. Also, MSI have been kind enough to offer an EU giveaway of some Fnatic and MSI gaming gear, and you can check that out via the Gleam giveaway link in the description and comment section. To enter, I'll go into this in a little bit more detail at the end of the video and let you know what the prizes and stuff are, and it is limited to Europe this time, but fear not, there'll be plenty more worldwide giveaways on this channel in the future. So anyway, let's take a look at the new hardware. Starting off with the new CPU, the Ryzen 1800X from AMD. It's an 8-core, 16-thread monster, and while not quite a threadripper, it's a massive improvement over that Intel i7-4770K that I used previously. With an initial render test that I did in Adobe Premiere Pro of a 30-minute 1080p 60fps video, which took around 57 minutes on the i7-4770K. It only took around 34 minutes on the Ryzen 1800X. I have been able to reduce this a bit further as well, so I can basically render my videos faster than their total length, which is like that perfect sweet spot. That's brilliant. So really impressed with those results so far. I've currently not overclocked the processor, so it's sitting at 3.6 GHz and then turbo boosting to 4 GHz, but I reckon I can push it up to about 4.1 constantly with an overclock, and that's something I'll be dabbling in over the next week or so, and I'll include that in my follow-up video. In terms of temperatures, I've paired the Ryzen 1800X up with the Cooler Master Liquid 120, which I've used in the past and is now my go-to water cooler for when I'm looking for a small and compact CPU cooler. It just works really well, and I'm always impressed with the temperatures it yields. It idles at around 30 degrees, just while on the desktop and a bit of light web browsing. Going into gaming, I saw high 40s and low 50s as its sort of average temperature, and I've seen it top out at 67 degrees in my render test so far, which is very comfortable sort of temperature leveling, especially when, you know, all the cores are being thrown into a heavy render. So I'm very pleased with that so far. I will keep monitoring that as I overclock, because I do expect those temperatures to rise, but we're well within safe operating temperatures. So for now, that's everything on the new CPU, talking about its cooler and stuff. So let's take a look at the motherboard. So MSI sent over their new X370 Gaming M7 ACK motherboard for this project, which of course supports the AM4 socket and supports up to and including the Ryzen 7 CPU lineup. The motherboard is packed full of features and even comes with a PCIe killer Wi-Fi card as well. So if you don't want to plug in via Ethernet, you do have that wireless option straight out of the box, and it's nice they include that card. There's the usual suite of MSI board features, such as Mystic Lighting with the RGB lighting effects on the MSI logo, audio channel, I/O cover, and it's also extendable via the motherboard's LED header, which I've connected up some RGB fans that I've installed around the case, and they've all been synced up via MSI's gaming app software, so I think they look pretty nice, and you can tweak and play with that. It's got all the standard RGB LED bells and whistles that you'd expect. You have Audio Boost 4 technology and a dedicated channel on the motherboard to give you the best audio experience possible, and again it's partnered up with the Nahimic 2 audio software, and so far it's been crystal clear for listening back to my recordings while I've been editing. DDR4 boost technology is also present on the board, along with steel armor for the RAM and PCIe slots to support your RAM and GPUs and help protect against EMI. You've got both two-way NVIDIA SLI and AMD Crossfire three-way support on the motherboard, so whichever GPU team you prefer, MSI's got you covered for multi-GPU configurations. Finally, let's take a look at the connection options that you have for this motherboard via the rear I/O. You've got a PS2 gaming port, you've got two USB 2.0 ports underneath that, you have a clear CMOS button, and a dedicated BIOS Flashback Plus port, which is very useful if you need to reset your BIOS or anything like that. And you can access that via a dedicated port. You have a killer Ethernet port, of course, and then you have 6 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, with 2 of these ports being VR-ready USB ports, which basically make use of the VR boost chip on the motherboard to help optimize VR connections made through those 2 ports. You've got one USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type A Lightning port and one USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type C Lightning port for super fast transfer speeds and device charging, and then finally you have the regular assortment of audio ports. I decided that the old Cooler Master Striker case had served me well, but it'd seen better days and it was rather large for what I needed. I needed a slightly more compact case. So I went with a white and purple NZXT S340 case, swapped all my hard drives over to the new case, added some RGB Cooler Master fans, and fired it up. The new hardware, the Ryzen 1800X and the MSI X370 Gaming M7 ACK motherboard, have been a perfect combination so far, and I've been really impressed with the results that I've got both in my render tests, temperatures, and gaming isn't bad either. And I look forward to testing it out some more over the next few weeks. So I've already mentioned the render test that I've done on the new editing PC that you can see here. But let's briefly see what this PC can do in terms of a gaming test. So of course, let's run the Total War Warhammer 2 Battle benchmark. I popped in an MSI GTX 980 Ti into the PC for this benchmark, and as I said earlier, if there are any other games you'd like me to benchmark on this system, then do let me know in the comments section. So I ran the Warhammer 2 benchmark on the Ultra preset at 1920 by 1080 on DirectX 11, and these are the settings that Ultra preset presents, so you can compare that against your own PC if you'd like to. Let me know how your PC compares, and feel free to share your spec down in the comment section below. Okay, so before I wrap up this video, let me just give you a few more details about that MSI European Gleam giveaway that you can find linked in the description and comment section. As I said, fear not though, those that live outside the EU, there will be plenty more worldwide giveaways on my channel in the future. There's 3 prizes up for grabs. The first prize is a Fnatic jacket, which you can see up on screen now. And the second and third prize are the same. They're a MSI gaming bundle, which includes the MSI DS-B1 gaming mouse and Thunderstorm aluminium mousepad. So all you need to do is click the link in the description, comment section, enter as many of the Gleam entries as you want, and remember to check back on the Gleam giveaway for daily entries on watching this overview video for the new editing PC and my Mortal Empires overview too. The giveaway runs until November 15th, with the winners being contacted by email shortly afterwards by MSI. Thanks again to AMD and MSI for providing the Ryzen 1800X and X370 gaming M7 ACK motherboard for this upgrade. I do hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and hopefully you'll find the follow-up one interesting as well. Feel free to have your input about the sort of content I should put into that one as well down in the comment section. So until the next one, I hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Take pride and join the Legion. Check out my affiliates and sponsors, Games Planet, Overclockers UK, QT and MSI. Till the next one, ciao for now.